Howdy, folks. I am Maxwell, Rocket in the Morning's coffee getter, pajama valet, and magic 8-ball for college football. So, if you're a footballer, come on, let's get footballing.
You know, a couple of years ago, third Saturday in October, Tennessee and Alabama played in Knoxville. One of the greatest Tennessee football memories I have in my lifetime, and I've been around Tennessee for a very long time. We won that game 52-49. First time in, I think it was 16 or 17 years, we had beaten Alabama. And we announced that we were back. And I think we are back. Of course, we lost last year when we went to Tuscaloosa. But now, things have changed. It's back in Knoxville. I remember the game. I mean, Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt, 5 touchdowns. Wow. They were both unstoppable. And then that final pass, and I think it was to Brew McCoy, down the middle, 25 yards to get into field goal range with just a handful of seconds left on the clock. And they came out there and kicked that field goal. It went crazy. I don't have to tell you about it, but it sure is fun talking about it, right? It became cigar time. And it became time to tear down the goalpost and walk it down to the river and toss it in the Tennessee River, which was awesome. And just while we're on tossing things in the river, congratulations to Vanderbilt for doing the same thing after what? What did they do it for? For beating Alabama just a couple of weeks ago. Vanderbilt. Holy crackers, are you kidding me? And what was impressive about them tossing their goalpost into the Tennessee River was that they had a 4-mile hike down Broadway in Nashville. And if you've ever been to Broadway, I mean, they just walked slap down Broadway. And it took them 4 miles to get there from the stadium down to the river. That was crazy. If you haven't seen that video, you need to go to YouTube and look that up. It's quite fun. I digress. Pandemonium was what it was like for that game at Vanderbilt when they beat Alabama 2 weeks ago. And it was pandemonium when we beat Alabama 2 years ago. Now, the thing is this. Can it happen again in 2024? Come on. I'll take you through the numbers and give you 5 reasons why I think Tennessee is going to win this football game. Here are the numbers. Alabama, Tennessee, the power ratings, 23.7 to 20.2. The true line should be, according to the power ratings, 3.5 in Alabama's favor. Vegas opened it up at 1.5, and then it was quickly bet up to 3.5. It's now down around 3. Okay? When we look at this, we look at Tennessee's offensive efficiency thus far. It has fallen from in the 70s to 59-1. And Alabama has the advantage there. 51% efficiency versus defensive efficiency for Alabama, 74. And the exact same thing occurs with the offensive efficiency from Alabama to Tennessee's defensive efficiency. Now, we are down our best player on defense, Keenan Peely. He's done for the season. God love him. And thank you for all the hard work and being here with us. Long story short, my numbers come out to a 34-20 game. And then when I handicap it with various metrics that I use, I come up with Alabama 28-20. That's what my metric system comes up with. But I want to show you something. These are the games right here that both teams have played with what I call quality opponents. Either SEC, well, they are SEC games, actually, now that I think about it. Bama, 41 points. Then next week, 35 points. Then the next week, 27 points. They lose this game. And they almost and should have lost this game against South Carolina. So that's 34 points a game in these games, which is considerably different than the 42 up here when you consider their whole season. And so it's 34 points a game with a downward trend, right? You see that? 41, 35, 27. Look at Tennessee. 25, 14, 23. That's not good. But this is better, right? It's not down. It is up, and it's not by much. And so I'm going to change that to not up, but just flat. Okay? So this number here, based on those numbers, is still pretty accurate to what this number is right here. Look at that. They're almost exactly the same. Now, here's what I'm thinking. They're trending down. Tennessee is flat or trending up a little bit, at least from here, from there to there. If this goes in another direction, or continues in this direction, and this one continues in this direction, what's going to happen? I could easily see it being 27-27. You follow? I mean, does that make sense? Could make sense. Am I rationalizing? Maybe. But let me just say something about this game right here and this game right here. This is Arkansas. Oh, look at the smiley face I made. I didn't even know it. That's an omen. We are 2 plays away, 2 explosive plays away from these numbers not mattering and being completely different. And Tennessee still being 6 or 7 in the top 10 as opposed to 11. You know, we make one big play against Arkansas, we win that game. We make one big play against Florida. And when I say big play, I'm talking explosive play. You know, way downfield. Against Florida. There were 2 I know of. I'm trying to remember. I think there may have been 3 where we just missed. Deep. Just missed. Not by 15 yards like Joe Milton missed it. But a couple yards, a yard, a foot, whatever. Just off. Any one of those connects, and it changes the outcome of the game. Now, is it possible they could connect? Absolutely, because we saw them connect in the first 3 games of the season. Okay, we saw them connect. And people are hammering Nico. I'm not going to get into that today. I'm going to do a different video on that. The neg Vols. I mean, you people are just psychos. You really are just psychos. Let me share a little information with you. The Tennessee Vols don't exist to stroke your ego. It's the other way around. We exist to follow the Tennessee Vols. And when you've had enough and you feel like that you're your return of investment is not nearly enough, then that's when you just go find yourself another team. Don't sit around and be a bitch. You follow? I have confidence in Nico. I have all the confidence in the world. I've seen what he can do. I saw what he did against Iowa. I saw what he did, obviously, against Kent State and Chattanooga. I saw what he did. I saw what he did against North Carolina State. I saw what he did against Oklahoma, really, with 2 bad tackles. Or not 2 bad tackles, but with a second-string tackle and a third-string tackle. Okay? I think Josh Heupel learned a lot in that particular game about how to manage it without those players. And it's a good thing because the left tackle, Lance Hurd, he's out for the Alabama game. He's not going to be there. So they're going to have the same situation versus Alabama that they had in Oklahoma. They are going to be forced to roll Nico out. And that's where his success is going to explode. I'm just telling you, take it to the bank. That's where he's going to explode. Nico Iamaleava is a dual threat weapon. And obviously the line can't protect him in the pocket. So what is the only thing they can do? Is roll him out. And you watch, they're going to roll him out a lot this weekend. That's what changed the temperament of the game this past week against Florida. They started rolling him out a little bit more. Did pretty good. And I guarantee you they did a whole week of that this week in preparation for this game. Okay. Let's look at my 5 reasons why I believe Tennessee is going to win this football game on Saturday. Number 1, where they play in the game, Neyland Stadium. It's a home field advantage. Home field advantage is always good in this situation with the home field advantage that is as dramatic as Neyland Stadium. I mean, it's a fortress. It's a shrine. The atmosphere is electric. And what it does is creates that 12th man effect that visibly rattled Alabama last year. And you know what? They have players on that team, on this team, that were there 2 years ago. And I guarantee you, they are whispering in their pals' ear, holy shit, you won't believe how loud this frickin' place is. They're scaring themselves when they come in here. 100,000 people, 102,000 people, of course, shaking that place to the core. Now, Kalen DeBoer, the coach for Alabama, there was a meme going around, it circulated, and I posted it everywhere, about him talking about, well, we played football in Washington. We know what noise is. We're not scared. I'm paraphrasing. The football stadium in Washington is 70,000 people. Tennessee almost doubles that. Okay. So I later found out, a shout out to Moondrop, because she told me, hey, Rocket, it's funny, it's cool, but it was proven to be a fake news meme. And so I said, okay, thank you, Moon, for that. I left it up anyway, just to piss people off and be extra loud. It's going to be so loud in that football stadium. That's the number 1 thing. Number 2, look, We have never seen anything more powerful on a football field than the Tennessee output, their offensive output against Alabama 2 years ago. Okay? I mean, it was unbelievable. Fast, high octane. It was awesome. Now, can we get to that in this football game? I don't know. But we have it in the tank. It's there. If they can figure out a way to do it. And I have faith and trust in Heupel. I think he will figure out a way to do it. I do. I don't know why I do, but I do. You know, I look at the numbers. I'm throwing my metrics out. I'm throwing them out. But I showed you in my metrics, Alabama should win this game 28-20. Right? But we have the potential to have some offensive firepower. If we get 2 or 3 explosive plays, which we're totally and completely capable of, it's going to happen and we're going to beat them. And I'm just going to have faith and confidence that they're going to do that. Number 3, Alabama's got some defensive vulnerabilities. All right? They lost on the road to Vanderbilt. And it wasn't a fluke kind of thing. Vanderbilt beat them up. I mean, what? Really? Vanderbilt? You lost to Vanderbilt? Crimson Tide? What were you thinking? So they have some defensive vulnerabilities. Can't remember the score off the top of my head, but it was, I don't know, 38-35 or 38-41-35 or something like that. But they lost the football game legitimately. Just like Tennessee beat them 2 years ago, legitimately. They have defensive problems. They do not have the kind of defense that Tennessee has. Number 4, the revenge factor from last year. And not only that, that's always huge in college football. When you go to somebody's home and you get beat, and then next year you have them at home at your place, that's always a huge thing in college football. It's huge. Well, we got that going. But more than anything, they're just really getting kicked around like an old dog, man, with what's happened the past 2 games. It's just, you know, like in life, you just kind of fall apart for a reason that you just don't really understand or know. And then all of a sudden, something snaps and clicks, and you're back at it again. That's what's going to happen this weekend with Tennessee. The whole revenge thing. It's not only a revenge thing against Alabama, but a revenge thing against the press and the media. It's absurd. After beating Florida, coming back and beating Florida, that they dropped from 8 to 11 to drop out of the top 10. It's absurd. They didn't lose. They won the game. Okay? And just like the Tennessee-Alabama game, when Tennessee-Alabama is playing, all bets are off, man. It just depends on who out there wants it the most. Right? Tennessee-Florida is the exact same way. Now, the coaches have some say in that with how they conduct their offensive scheme and their defensive schemes. But, man, I got to tell you, you've heard me talk about Heupel. I love Heupel. I've followed him for a long, long time, since the 90s, you know, when he was just at Oklahoma, because I was in that part of the country at the time. And I've always been a fan of his. And then I was a fan of his at Central Florida. And then when he came up here, I was excited. I'm still excited. Josh Heupel is a good man. He's a good guy. He's a family man. And my complaint about Heupel is that he's just not emotional enough for me. I want him to be emotional about stuff. I understand you want to be calm and not make crazy choices or whatever. But you know what I saw in the Florida game? It's 4th down and 1 on your own 10-yard line. What do you do? Go ahead. Raise your hand if you have the answer. What do you do? What do you do? You kick the fucking football. What did he do? He said, boys, go get that first down. What? Really? What? That showed me something. That showed me a lot. You know, with him, it was just, he had just reached a point. Things weren't going well. He just said, F this crap. Go get that first down. Now, had they not gotten that first down on 4th and 1 on the 10-yard line, they would have lost that football game. Everybody that believes that, raise your hand. Everybody. But he did that, and that showed me something. That showed me something that renewed my faith in him. Was it a crazy move? Yeah, maybe. But he took a chance at a time where they needed to get some backbone and make something happen. He took something, right? And from that moment on, they went on and won that football game. They did. Now, they didn't capitalize on that particular play or moment, but it started an energy and a vibe that was important, I thought. And I'm looking for more of the same against Alabama this weekend. Not 4th and 1 on your own 10. I say kick that one. But there are going to be other things like that. It surprised me. And that's what's missing with this Tennessee offense. There are no surprises. Right? Everybody, we all know what's coming next. And all we want as a Tennessee fan, out from Heupel and from Nico, surprise me. Because if you surprise me, guess what? You surprise them as well. That's all that's missing, is an element of surprise. And that's going to happen this weekend. And number 5, the Vols have done it before. They did it 2 years ago. Some of the people were here know what that tastes like. They know and believe that they can do this. And I think that even Nico was here visiting when that happened, right? So he knows, he's seen it. I just think it's going to be a different animal from what we've seen on the last 2 games. The crowd's going to be on fire, and I mean on fire. You think they were loud for Florida? You watch. They're going to be super loud for Alabama. And my guess is there might be another goalpost tossed into the river. That's what I think. So, you might want to get your cigars. You got them ready? If you got them, smoke them. I got mine, obviously, and I'm going to smoke every day on one of them. Saturday night, while I'm watching Texas beat the crap out of Georgia. Okay, look, here's the thing. It all gets down to this, my final prediction. I've given you the reasons why. Tennessee, 30. Alabama, 28.